Hey, what is up you guys? My name is Catherine and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my colorful eyeshadow palette collection, and I will also be filming a video that shows you my neutral eyeshadow palette collection, and then if you want any other collection videos such as highlighters, foundations, blush, any of that, just let me know and I'd be more than happy to film it. So these videos aren't meant to be a hey look how much makeup I have sort of video. I really just want to make this so that my subscribers know what I have and you guys can request tutorials or ask for shade comparisons or formula comparisons. Like, I just want to put this out there as a resource for you guys. So it was sort of hard for me to determine like what palettes would go into the neutrals category versus what palettes would go into the colorful category, because it is a trend as of late, especially for brands to put out these palettes that are mostly neutral and then they have maybe 2 or 3 really bright shades in there. So for the most part, all of the palettes in today's video are palettes that are 50% or more colorful shades. So some of these palettes do have neutral or more safe shades in there, and then everybody just has a different definition of neutral. So I'm going to be going in the order of least colorful out of my colorful palettes to most colorful out of my colorful palettes. So before I get started with showing you guys these eyeshadow palettes, definitely don't forget to subscribe. I'm here every Wednesday and Sunday, and I just hit 1,000 subscribers, so you guys definitely want to join the party. It's pretty cool if I do say so myself. And let's get started. So the first palette that I'm going to be talking about is the only one that is over $25, and that is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. So I sort of consider this palette to be a diet colorful palette, if you will, because you do have your more neutral shades in here, but then you do have your bright pops of color as well. And then a lot of the colors that are in here are more safe or easy to play it safe with. Like, it's very easy to do a mostly neutral smoky eye, but then maybe have a pop of this pink or this really deep orange or one of these reddish shades on the lid. So this is a really great palette if you have only ever worn like very neutral eyeshadow and you want to start being a little bit more bold with your looks, but you're just not ready to jump into a super colorful palette yet. So this retails for $42. Formula wise, these shades are super pigmented, but they are also super blendable. If you're someone that doesn't love a powdery formula, you probably won't like these. They are powderier than some eyeshadow palettes that I have. It's not a very hard pressed formula, but you do get that really intense pigmentation. I definitely would recommend using a lighter hand if you're not familiar with Anastasia's eyeshadow formula, but I have made some of my favorite looks with this palette. Like, they all just blend together so well, and I love it. I feel like everyone has this in their collection already, but if you don't, like, you need it. So this next palette is another one that's really great for just sort of dipping your toes into playing with colorful eyeshadows. And this palette is actually a dupe. So this is the Bad Habit Beauty Athena palette. This is the dupe of the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. So obviously if you're more of a high-end lover, you could get that as well. So you can see with this palette you also have some very neutral shades in here, but not quite as much as you do in the Modern Renaissance palette. And then you do have some more toned down shades that would be great on the lid, like these copper shades or these pale gold shades that are in here. But then you do have your very bright pops of color. Like, you have this red and this orange and this bright purple, and you have this duochrome purple shade. Like, it's absolutely gorgeous. You even have a pressed glitter shade in here, which is not really colorful. It does have little flecks of red glitter in there. So you can create super bold, colorful looks with this. Or you can also just do the thing where you have a mostly neutral eye with one little pop of color. So the Bad Habit Beauty palette retails for $14, whereas the original Desert Dusk palette retails for $65. I will say I wouldn't necessarily call this a long-term palette. This isn't like a long-term investment. just because these shadows are very loosely pressed, and I have found that these shimmers crumble apart very easily. I've had to repress a lot of these shimmers, so it's maybe like a good palette to just grab, see if you're into more colorful shades, but like if this is the only palette in your collection, you might have a difficult time, you know what I'm saying? This next one is definitely a popular palette. This is the Colourpop Yes Please palette. So this one, you definitely can get some more neutral eyeshadow looks out of it, but you'd more really have to be trying. Like there's only a couple of shades that you could really dip into to get a neutral eye look. So this is obviously a super warm toned palette. It's great for fall in my opinion. This was actually Colourpop's original eyeshadow palette. It's the first eyeshadow palette they ever released. I remember that it just kept selling out and then restocking and selling out again. Like I think it was finally on like the 4th restock where it didn't sell out that day. So it's definitely worth the hype. I think it's such a beautiful palette. This one retails for $16. I personally love Colourpop's formula. I do find that their shimmers get quite a bit of fallout, but their payoff is amazing. Like they tend to look very shiny and almost metallic on the eye, especially if you wet your brush or use your finger. And then I find the mattes to be very easy to work with. They blend very easily. They're not overly pigmented, but you definitely do get good pigment out of them, and you definitely can build up to bam pigment on your eyelids. So I think this is such a great palette. I love like all of Colourpop's palettes, but like this one is really a great palette. Alright, so now we're going from a super warm toned palette into a super cool toned palette. So this is the Morphe Dark Magic palette from the Jaclyn Hill Vault, and this got a lot of controversial reviews, but I honestly do like this palette. And keep in mind, this does retail for only $15 for 10 shades, and the pan size is rather large as well. Like I will definitely say that the colors in this palette aren't the most workable. Like you do have to put a little extra effort into them as opposed to the Colourpop palette or maybe even the Anastasia palette. Like those are just two completely different types of formulas. Like I can't even really compare those, but I think it's worth it simply because there is no other palette with these colors in this price range. So if you are just like absolutely drawn to these colors, like these are colors that you want to use on a regular basis, but you just can't justify shelling out the money for the singles to make up this palette or an actual palette with a similar color scheme. Like I can't even think of a high-end palette with a color scheme like this, quite frankly. Then this might be worth trying out. The only shade in this palette that genuinely disappointed me was the shade Trickery, only because it is supposed to be a shimmer and it just, on the finger it still has that sheen to it, but on the eye it blended in with this matte dark green shade, like to the point where I couldn't even differentiate between the two shades because this just didn't have enough shimmer. I am very picky about my shimmers. However, the other two shimmers in here, these two more silvery and taupe shades, are super beautiful even without a brush. So this palette is great for very deep, bold, smoky, like grunge looks. Like if you love cool tones, like this is really a good one for you. Alright, this next palette is one that I haven't really played with yet, to be perfectly honest. That is the Pop Beauty Blink Brilliance palette. So they did send this to me to consider for review. It retails for $14. They do sell Pop Beauty at Duane Reade, but I'm not sure if they do sell anywhere else in the US. I definitely haven't seen it at a proper Walgreens or CVS. So the only reason that I haven't played with this yet is that these glitters in here just really scream holiday looks to me. Like I am definitely going to be doing a holiday tutorial with this red glitter. Like wow, like it's so beautiful. I'm just so drawn to this red glitter, and then obviously this purple glitter as well. Like I'm just obsessed with purple eyeshadow, if you didn't know. So this has 4 satins and 4 pressed glitters in here, and the satins and the glitters do sort of coordinate. I think this would be a great palette if you really love pressed glitters, because you do get 4 of them in here, and I don't think that there are a lot of pressed glitters at the drugstore or at drugstore prices. The only one that I really can think of off the top of my head is those little Wet n Wild Color Icon like glitter singles, if you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's definitely will be one that I am looking forward to playing with over the holidays, and obviously I very much appreciate being sent this as well. This next one isn't really a true palette, it's just a quad. This is the Wet n Wild Color Icon Eyeshadow Quad from the Flights of Fancy collection. This is the Asta La Costa quad. I probably said that wrong. So all of Wet n Wild's Color Icon quads retail for $2.99, and then of course you can always use drugstore coupons towards your Wet n Wild purchase as well. So this particular one is unfortunately sold out. Quite frankly, I wasn't wowed by the quality of this. I haven't really been wowed by Wet n Wild's new eyeshadow formula in general. I sort of feel like I'm the only one. But I do like these 2 shimmer shades in here, and that's why I hold on to this, so I can use these as lid shades, especially if I'm traveling and I just want a couple colorful options. I can throw this in my travel bag. Wet n Wild does have a couple other Color Icon quads that have some more colorful shades in there, so I think these definitely be worth picking up if you're wanting to dip into color, but you're really not wanting to make like any sort of investment at all. It's just $3. You can try it out, and if you decide it's not for you, you can just toss it. This next one is another limited edition palette. This is the Colourpop My Little Pony palette. First of all, can we just appreciate the packaging on this? It is so adorable. So this is what the inside looks like, and like most of their 12-pan palettes, this one also was $16 when I purchased it. So there are some super gorgeous and unique shimmer shades in here. Like, I don't know if I've ever really seen just a shimmery, like, true orange like this, like not a copper, like an actual orange. Like, I think it's so pretty and unique. Like, it sounds like something that there would be a lot of, and then like when I think about it, there really isn't. And then these 2 minty shades are beautiful. I absolutely love them. And then of course the purple as well. So quite frankly, I don't reach for this as much as I should, simply because I'm someone that really likes to do one palette looks. Like, I'm someone that likes to look at an eyeshadow palette and get inspired by just that color scheme right in front of me and then do a look with that. And there aren't a lot of matte shades in here, and I know that you don't need matte shades to do an eyeshadow look, but I don't find that the shimmers that are in here are really like conducive to putting in the outer corner or putting in the crease. Like, I don't find Colourpop shimmers really work for that, because they are a true shimmer, not a more toned down satin shimmer. But it is super, super beautiful. This next one is, in my opinion, the best value palette for the price. This is the BH Cosmetics Weekend Festival palette. So I did a giveaway of this over the summer as well. I think this palette is beautiful. It is $18 for 20 shades. It is sold out on BH Cosmetics website and will not be coming back, but as I am speaking, it's still available on Ulta's website. Last time I said that, the palette got taken down immediately, which was the BH Cosmetics Carli Bybel Deluxe palette. But if Ulta hasn't banned you from ordering from them, you can definitely try to pick this up. I love this palette. Like, I think it is so amazing. Ironically enough, I find that the neutrals in here don't really perform that well. Like, I found that this shade and this darker brown shade, like, really didn't perform well on the eyes, but like all of the other shades in here I have found to be very, very workable, despite being more colorful shades that might be harder to formulate. And I love that they didn't just give you like this matte pink and like a brown shade like this and then the rest colorful shimmers, because so often companies will release colorful palettes that are only shimmers. So I really love that there's just like such a variety of matte and shimmer, duochrome, and like just everything is in here. Not everything obviously, but like you got a lot in here. Really great value for the price, and it is, I just love it. I really do. So this next palette is the newest addition to my collection out of all of my palettes, and that is the Colourpop Ooh La La palette. I promise this is the last Colourpop palette that's going to be in this video. So this retails for $12 and has 9 shades in here. I did post a review for this on Sunday, so definitely go check that out if you are interested. And this is what I have on my eyes today as well. So as you can see, this is a very bright, mostly pink toned eyeshadow palette. I find that even this shade Soft Core, which looks like it's going to be a more warm toned, like very pale taupe on the eyes, definitely pulls super pink on the eyes, at least on my skin. And then you have this deeper red and this purple tone. So this one has 3 pressed pigments and then 6 pressed eyeshadows. I think the difference is that pigments are technically not eye safe and can stain the eyes, but I did not have an issue with that with these. Obviously, if you're someone who really loves pink eyeshadow, this would be a great palette for you. I did find that this hot pink shade Sandbar is a little bit patchy on the eyes, but it's definitely still workable. And I just love Colourpop's palettes, so I'm biased. If you don't love Colourpop's formula, you probably won't like this, but I do, so I like it. This next one is another dupe, and that is the Bad Habit Beauty Aftershock palette. It is the dupe for the Huda Beauty Electric Obsessions palette. I can't wait for them to do the Amethyst Obsessions palette. I really can't. So this one was $12, and as you can see, it is super colorful. These are intensely pigmented shades, and with that being said, they are also a little bit powdery. You can see that the palette is just a little bit messy, but I mean, if you want like all out super bright, super colorful looks, like electric is definitely a great way to describe this. And for 12 bucks, I do think that it is worth it because the color payoff is amazing. I really think Bad Habit Beauty has high quality palettes, especially for the price. I know a lot of people have their opinions as to if they think it's okay for Bad Habit Beauty to just sort of straight up rip off these more high-end eyeshadow palettes. I'm personally okay with it because I feel like it's making these color schemes available to people who otherwise wouldn't be able to afford it, or who maybe just don't want to support those brands. Like, I would never pay $65 for a Huda Beauty eyeshadow palette. Like, even if I did consider Huda Beauty to be cruelty free and I didn't have all my other opinions about Huda Beauty, like, I still wouldn't drop $65 on that palette. So that's why I am okay with Bad Habit Beauty, but if you have a different opinion, that's totally fine. Would love to hear your thoughts down below. Let's have a discussion. Let's chat. So this next one is one that is a little bit more hard pressed, not super powdery, not a lot of fallout, but you can build it up to be very pigmented on the eyes. That is the NYX Ultimate Brights palette. I think this palette is just so beautiful. My friend got this for me for my 19th birthday and I just absolutely fell in love. Like, you have every shade of the rainbow in this palette. All of these shades are mattes. A couple of them have like a glitter in them that doesn't show up on the eyes. So I just consider all of these to be mattes or satin mattes. And I did check Target's website before posting this video, and as of now, this is $10 on Target's website. I don't know how long that'll last, but I think this is beyond worth it for $10. Like, $10 for 16 super bright, beautiful eyeshadows. Like, can you go wrong with that? I personally don't think so. So if you've been considering this palette for a while, like, now's the time to snag it up as long as it's still on sale. I love it so much. I did my first ever makeup tutorial using this palette, and yeah, it's beautiful. I feel like the palette just sort of speaks for itself, honestly. Alright, so now we are down to the last and, in my humble opinion, most colorful eyeshadow palette of this video, and that is the Pinky Rose Cosmetics Bright Lights palette. So my mom got this for me for my birthday, and wow. So this retails for $25, and you can get it at Riley Rose or on Riley Rose's website. I don't know where else you can get it, quite frankly, but this one also has every shade of the rainbow. It has mostly mattes in here with a couple more shimmer shades. This shade Glitz and this dark bluer shade Boom are both shimmer shades, and then you have your 3 pressed glitters in here as well, and the glitters are stunning. Like, this glitter cupcake is so unique. Like, the different glitters that are in here are phenomenal in my opinion. So I haven't had a whole lot of time to play with this yet. I know my birthday was 6 weeks ago, but I've been having a hard time like making myself play with colorful eyeshadows lately, just because school and my mood with school has not been the best. These are in your face pigmented shades. Like, I feel like the pans sort of speak for themselves. Like, you can just kind of look at them and tell, like, those are going to be very pigmented shades. So if you are someone that doesn't like a formula like the NYX Ultimate Brights palette, where it's more buildable, you don't necessarily get the most bold looks out of it right off the bat, like you want that bam in your face pigment and you want every shade of the rainbow in there, this would be a great palette for you. I do think that the price is right for this palette. Like, it's $25 and you get quite a bit of shades in here, and I think the quality is really great. Like, some of the shades are like a little powdery, a little chalky, but like, again, they're bam, like they are pigmented. So I'm definitely excited to play with this some more. Like, I think this is such a beautiful, beautiful palette. Maybe this will be one that I do some tutorials with soon. That is it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed seeing my more colorful eyeshadow palettes. Definitely feel free to request tutorials or comparisons or like any videos that you want to see with any of these palettes. I am so happy to do that. I love you guys. Thank you again for 1,000 subscribers, and I will see you on Sunday.